Hey guys, welcome back to this podcast about time travel. I hope you guys like it this time. Now, I'm not saying I accidentally messed up the timeline during my multiple trips back in time to improve my grade for this, but let's just say the butterfly effect might have been in full swing. But hey, I think it's worth it, right? Every tick of the clock, we embark an epic journey through time, moving forward at the intense speed of 1 second per 1 second. Who wants to mess with the space time continuum when we can just enjoy the chaos of our current reality anyway? But when we think of time travel, we think of next level stuff like a wild roller coaster ride that could take us in any direction through different times. The idea of time travel has captivated the imagination of scientists, philosophers, and fiction writers all over the world. Several movies have centered around the topic of time travel. My favorite movie is The Butterfly Effect, which delves into the intriguing concept of the butterfly effect. Time travel is clearly a fascinating concept. To understand the scientific concept of time travel, we must first see what's going on in the head of Albert Einstein. And I'm not just saying that the concept of time travel is wild like is here, but also the theory of relativity. In the theory of relativity, Einstein shows that time is relative and can be affected by gravity and motion. Based on our current understanding of physics, time travel to the future is more likely to be achievable than time travel to the past. This is because the theory of relativity allows for time dilation, where time can pass at different rates for different observers, depending on their relative motion and the strength of gravitational fields they experience. For example, time passes slower near a massive object like a black hole and faster comparatively in open space or when you close your eyes after snoozing the alarm in the morning. So if you were to travel close to the speed of light or near a strong gravitational field, time would pass more slowly for you relative to someone who remains stationary. This means that when you return to the stationary observer, less time would have passed for you, effectively transporting you to the future. On the other hand, traveling to the past raises numerous paradoxes and logical inconsistencies and violates many laws of physics. However, Einstein's theory of general relativity suggests that time travel to the past could be possible in certain space-time geometries that allow faster than light travel, such as cosmic strings, traversable wormholes, and Alcubierre drives. Stephen Hawking's book, A Brief History of Time from the Big Bang to Black Holes, delves into a wide range of fascinating concepts about time travel. Especially in the chapter 10 of the book, Hawking discusses the idea of wormholes, also known as Einstein-Rosen bridges, which were once considered a potential means of traveling through time and space. Hawking notes that the only way a wormhole could remain open would be if it were held open by an exotic matter with negative energy density, which violates the energy conditions of general relativity. Numerous scientists are exploring the theoretical concepts of time travel. It's possible that time travel is already a reality somewhere in the future, and we encounter time travelers in a regular basis. Maybe that person who accidentally spilled coffee all over you and made you lose your temper was actually a time traveler on a secret mission to teach you the virtue of patience. Or maybe that person who betrayed you, maybe they came back in time because they knew that the only way for you to become a better version of yourself was to go through that experience. Maybe that rude person who caught in front of you in line at the grocery store was from future who came back in time to create a butterfly effect to prevent you from tripping over a banana peel later. Or maybe not. Without a fully unified theory that combines quantum mechanics and general relativity, physicists cannot make a definitive judgment on whether time travel is possible or not. The idea of time travel brings questions such as whether it is possible to overcome the uncertainties, will science and nature ever allow it, and if the answer is yes, would it be easy to change the course of history? So there are some paradoxes that arise from the concept of time travel. For example, the grandfather paradox. Okay, imagine you get into a time machine and go back into the past way before, like 10 years before your father was born, and you find yourself face to face with your dear beloved grandfather. But instead of giving him a big hug, you decide to, well, terminate his existence. Let's just say he won't be making it into any family game nights anytime soon, unless they are playing Ouija board. Now here's the question. What happens to you? Do you just disappear into thin air like a magician's rabbit in a hat? Or do you still stick around like... I think that would make the family gathering so awkward that it would make a dentist waiting room feel like a rock concert. But logically, if you really go back in time and eliminate your grandfather before your dad or mom was born, you wouldn't even exist to go back in time to pull off this horrible act in the first place. This logical contradiction is the grandfather paradox. Another paradox that arises from the concept of time travel is the predestination paradox or causal loop paradox. So imagine time machine is invented and you go back in time to stop the invention of time machine because you think it's dangerous or something. So you go back in time and warn the scientist about the consequences of time machine. But your warning actually creates a hope for it to become a reality and inspires the scientist to work even harder, leading to the creation of time machine. So basically, the thing you are trying to prevent ends up happening because of you. Your action was necessary for this invention to occur. It just creates a paradoxical loop where the past, present and future are more tangled up than mom's spaghetti. So remember guys, if you ever come across a time machine, do not try to change anything from the past or you might end up in a loop that's more confusing than solving a Rubik's Cube in the dark. So basically, the invention of time machine is both the cause and effect of your trip back in time. Okay, consider this intriguing possibility. What if Hitler's descent into evil was actually caused by a paradox resulting from multiple time travelers attempting to travel back in time and assassinate him as a baby, but ultimately being unable to follow through after being moved by the sight of the innocent child? Could it be that the trauma and exposure to so much violence and hatred from these attempted assassinations actually played a role in Hitler's transformation and led him down the path towards becoming the very thing the time travelers were trying to prevent? In this scenario, there is no clear beginning or end to the chain of events, creating a paradox where it's impossible to determine which event caused the other. This is called the causal loop paradox or the predestination paradox. So with all these paradoxes, time travel seems next to impossible, but also we started from rocks and stones and now we're here. So alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. See you again in the future, or perhaps in the past. Wait a minute. Wait. So do you remember when you eliminated your grandfather? So now that you eliminated him, you'll never exist, right? And if you don't exist, you cannot go back in time to eliminate him. So he will be alive and you will exist. Now this is called the closed time-like curves, which is a theoretical solution which cancels out the grandfather paradox. The closed time-like curves act as a kind of self-correcting mechanism that prevents paradoxes from occurring. Another solution to time travel paradoxes is the Novikov self-consistency principle. Okay, imagine this. You get into a time machine to travel back in time and give your past self the winning lottery numbers. But as you're about to go spill the beans, the universe decides to pull a prank on you and throws every obstacle in your way. Maybe a giant banana peel appears out of nowhere and you slip. Maybe a swarm of angry bees attack you. I don't know, maybe a group of unicorns block your way, or your time machine gets stuck in traffic. Whatever the reason, the universe is determined to stop you from changing the past and potentially messing up the timeline. The Novikov self-consistency principle states that if there's an event that could result in any alteration to the past, creating a paradox, then the likelihood of that event occurring is absolutely impossible. So I suggest just sit back, relax, and don't try to create a paradox, because the Novikov self-consistency principle is watching you. Another paradox killer is the multiverse theory. In this theory, there are multiple or infinite universes that exist parallel to each other. So even if you were to go back in time and change something, the original timeline would still exist in a separate universe and the new timeline would exist in another universe. So if you go back in time and eliminate your grandfather, you simply create a new universe where you were never born. And if you go back in time and give yourself a winning lottery numbers, you simply create a new universe where you win the lottery. Since everything has a butterfly effect, we create multiple universes every day. In fact, every decision you have made in your life have brought you to this moment where you are listening to me right now. I guess you have made brilliant decisions in your life. So basically, the idea of the multiverse theory is that every time a decision is made, a new universe is created. For now, practically, time travel might seem like a sci fi dream, but someday it can be a reality. Until then, let's stay on this timeline and see where it takes us.